we apparently had a question, so to speak. We had a bunch of questions to deal with in chapter 6, so we are going to that. That's unit 6 rather. So this is module 6, chapter 1, module 6, right? So we're going to go through the questions and we're going to attempt them. Start quiz. Let's begin. Now, ISS questions are quite tricky at times, so you need to be able to understand it as properly as you can. And the first question here is, let me make this full screen so we can see it properly. And yeah, a chief information security officer at a large organization documented a policy that establishes the acceptable use. It's basically an acceptable use policy. You might see it that way for all staff. This is an example of what? There's nothing like cloud control. Now, there's something about the exams. When you're attempting the exams, please eliminate those that you're sure they are totally not the answer. They're totally incorrect. Whatever remains, no matter how improbable it is definitely the right answer. So, first of all, we eliminate cloud control because it doesn't exist. We didn't talk about that. And the next thing, when it comes to physical control, this is even a cloud environment. And physical control is basically about protecting physical assets, or directing people physically where they should pass through. It's why we use fences, doors, locks, and all those other things, right? It's for physical control. So this is nothing about physical control. If we look at the technical control aspect, technical control is now technically protecting your assets. So we use password, firewalls, UAPs, all those other things as a form of technical controls, username and passwords, fingerprint readers, stuff like that, right? Technical controls. They protect technical access to information. We're left with administrative controls, and basically with admin controls, they are basically policies and rules that define how people should behave in the organization. For instance, if you see something like staff only are allowed here and all of those other things, those are management or administrative controls. So we move from there. Is it possible to avoid risk? What do you think the answer is? Well, we definitely have something called risk avoidance. So, yep, you can avoid risk by totally not taking the action. So, yes, risk is always present, but you can avoid a risk. All right? Now, what is non-repudiation? We spoke about this already, and what do you think the answer is? Eliminate all things that you're sure is not correct, and what you would be left with is definitely going to be correct. Now, non-repudiation is simply more like a document or an agreement that shows you did an action, so to speak. So if a user does something, they can later claim they didn't do it. That is what it's about. Question 4, which of the following is not one of the 4 typical ways of managing a risk? Well, we have 4 ways of managing risk: avoidance, acceptance, mitigation, and transference. There's nothing like conflict, so it's going off. Our question 5 here, Siobhan is deciding whether to make a purchase online. The vendor wants Siobhan to create a new user account and is requesting for his full name, his home address, his credit card number, phone number. That's a lot of personal information. Remember PIs, that's a lot of PIs. So the ability to send marketing messages, permission to share the data with other vendors. Siobhan decides that the item for sale is not worth the value of the information and it decides not to make the purchase, meaning it totally did not make the purchase. So what did he do? It's not mitigation, it's not acceptance. Of course, if you accepted, it means it's going to just go ahead with the purchase. It's not transfer because it's not giving it to any other person. And it's basically him avoiding the whole thing. He's avoiding the risk. So it's risk avoidance. Guillermo is the system admin for a mid-sized retail organization. He has been tasked with writing a document that describes step-by-step how to securely install the OS on a new laptop. This document, step-by-step. When you see step-by-step, you already know it's a procedure, right? Procedures tell you how to do something. Guidelines tell you what to do, right? I think that's the major difference between them, right? Most times you see procedures and guidelines put together, but guidelines is telling you what to do. In case of this, do this. In case of this, do this. That is a guideline. But procedure will tell you when doing this, do this, do this, do this, do this. Like I created a video on how you should register for the ISC2. That was a procedural kind of video, right? And basically what I'm doing right now looks like a guideline for the exam. All right, it's not a procedure for the exam. I think that should be able to give you the distinction between it. Question 7. Lankesh is the security admin for a small food distribution company. A law published in the country in which Lankesh company operates. The law conflicts with the company's policies. Which governance element should he follow? Should he follow the policy? Should he follow the law? Should he follow any procedures that that have been affected by the law? What exactly should Lankesh do in this situation? Like we mentioned, the law is above, right? The law is above all. Even if it's just a small country, a small state, doesn't matter. The law is always going to be above all. Company policy does not beat the law. Neither does company policy beat the standards. So, question 8. Crystal is the security admin for a large online service provider. Crystal learns that companies are vesting personal data. I think this happens a lot. Yeah, it happens a real lot. Harvesting personal data of its customers and sharing the data with local governments where the government company operates without the knowledge of the users, to allow the governments to persecute users on the basis of their political and philosophical beliefs. The published user agreement states that the company will not share personal user data with any other entities without the user's explicit permission. So according to the ISC2 Code of Ethics, whom does he owe a duty in this situation? Now, this is technical, and I want you to pick your answer. This is quite a technical, technical question. Now, the first thing is the government of the countries where the company operates. Now, the company the Crystal works for, that is actually selling the data, should it be loyal to them? Then we have the users and then ISC2. In most situations, in most exam scenarios, according to most of my students, they pick ISC2. No, please. You see, to answer this question properly, we are going to go into the Code of Ethics over here, and then we're going to see the Professional Code of Conduct. All right? This is the Code of Ethics canons. Those are the beliefs held by the ISC2. The very first thing you see there is to protect society. Society is the users, public trust and everything. The last one there is to protect ISC2 profession, right? So please don't make the mistake. ISC2 is more like the last thing you protect according to the ethics, right? So for this particular chapter 6 that we were on, can we get back to the questions? Oh my god. Okay, yeah, we can continue the quiz. I thought we've lost that there. So let me see, where was it? Lazy. All right, so where was it? Oh, there we go. So who does he owe duty in this situation? Not the government, not the company. The first duty is definitely to ISC2. To the users, the last duty is to ISC2, right? So please don't make that mistake. Thank you very much. Users are very important, no matter where you get them to. So the next thing we are looking at is question 9, obviously. While taking the certification exam for this certification, you notice another candidate for the certification cheating. What should you do? Who selected color? Why would you do that? Why would you do that? Well, this is also a trickish one. It is very tempting to say nothing, right? Because it's not your problem anyway. The test center should be able to check and make sure that doesn't happen, right? But as much as that is so sweet to pick, this person is writing an ISC2 certification and is also a member of the, of ISC2. So you don't yell at the person, you'll probably be chased out. The next thing to do is possibly to report the candidate to ISC2, right? You can report you can report a fellow candidate to ISC2. I'm not saying you should, I'm not saying you should not, but it's what you should do, right? So, yep. And the next one is about secrecy. Anywhere you see secrecy, of course, you know it's confidentiality. And that ends the class, and we are submitting the quiz. And let's see if we were able to get that all completely. And there we go. Oh wow, 100%. You could go through everything. So basically that is what it is. I hope you've been able to understand more. Thank you very much.